So good evening, everybody. This is Ms. Sabrina Stewart with TCC Talent Search. I'm so excited that already we have so many participants joining us tonight for our financial fitness session for students. It's actually going to be a separate one for parents. So tonight is all about for students, and it's going to be about money smarts, being wise with money, whether you have a little or a lot. If you make better choices with it, you will have more than you had. So we're really excited about this. I'm here, and also Ms. Jalma Williams from Talent Search, and then we have the two Ms. Kellys from Envision Credit Union. They are a credit union. Probably she'll talk about it in a minute, but they're actually located in our community. And a lot of your parents or family members might even bank with them. I know I bank with them as one of my banks. And so they're going to talk to you all, show you some videos and have some fun interactions about money. And then also we have some raffles at the end for you participating. So without any further ado, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. Thank you for being here. Ms. Kelly, I'll let you go.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. My name is Kelly Walter, and I am the Vice President of Community Development at Envision Credit Union. Some of you guys may recognize our credit unions, and we're stretched all across North Florida and South Georgia. So we have 5 branches in the Tallahassee area, and then we have one in Quincy, one in Chattahoochee, one in Marianna, and then in Georgia, we have 2 in Thomasville and 1 in Bainbridge. So we are spread all across the place, and we're the credit union that has the E. We have like a really fun E as our logo. So you may have recognized us before, but we're super excited to be here. We love teaching financial education. And the cool thing about what we're going to be teaching you guys tonight is that you can access this at home or on your phone, as long as you have a web browser, for free. So we're going to go over 2 money topics tonight, and we're just going to kind of tease you a little bit because there's a lot more topics out here that we hope that you'll go explore on your own. If you have a parent that's watching with you, hey parents, thank you so much for supporting your children in this. We cannot advocate enough for financial education. And we truly believe that the younger that we start thinking and talking about money, the better we will be as adults at making what are normally really tough financial decisions. So we're really excited to be here tonight. And then my partner in crime, her name is also Kelly. You'll also see her. Kelly, if you just want to say a few words to everyone, and then we'll just jump in.
First, Sabrina, thank you for having us. We are excited to be here. Financial literacy is our favorite thing to teach out of all the things that we do, and we get to do a lot of fun stuff, but we love teaching financial literacy, and I especially love to teach and work with the kids. So I'm happy to be here, and don't hesitate to chat us, and we'll check it every once in a while as we go along so that we can answer any questions you guys might have.
Definitely. If you guys, oh, go ahead, Sabrina.
I thought of one thing. Just for my people who just come in, if you wouldn't mind in the chat, just putting your name in the chat. So then when we do the raffle at the end, we'll be able to pick our students for the raffle. And then Kelly, I don't know if you want to tell them what the raffle items are going to be so that they
know. So we're doing gift card drawings. We're going to do 2 gift card giveaways for $10 to a local place to eat, lunch on us. So yeah, yeah, definitely. So you guys can definitely chat with us. Let us know that you're here to be entered to win. And Sabrina will do a drawing right at the end, and we can make if you have the ability to do that, Sabrina, we can do a random winner right here on the screen. Actually, we can go to Google and do a random number between 1 and 23, and there's our winner. So
okay, and then
that's one way to do it.
Perfect. So Kelly, so it's one Visa gift card for $25, and then
that was if they pre-registered. Did they pre-register?
We didn't have anybody pre-register.
Okay, so we'll do. Why don't we just do 3 $10 gift cards then? So we have 3 winners. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Perfect. And you guys tell your parents to register, because your parents are going to have an opportunity to earn more. We're going to do a bigger gift card giveaway. So let's make sure you guys get your parents registered for the grown-up session. We're going to talk a little bit more complicating stuff, but good stuff for them that we know that they'll enjoy. Does that sound okay, Sabrina?
They said
Yes.
y'all can win more.
What was
Like
that?
more than 25.
He was telling his mom.
Oh, good. Listen there. Look at him already
Good
working.
job.
Thank you, bud. All right. Well, let's go ahead then and get started. Let me show you where we're going for those of you who want to kind of know where to go. And I will send a follow-up email to Sabrina that she can share with you all as well. Okay. So that you kind of have a point. So you just go to Envision CU, the C and the U is for credit union.com. Okay. And then when you go straight to our website, to envisioncu.com, this is what the page looks like. If you just hover right over this resource button right here, you can go right over here to financial education. And this is called It's a Money Thing. And you'll see it says for kids, so you'll know that one's for me. So when you click on for kids, it's going to go to this page right here that has all these different money topics. You'll see there's a bunch of them. There's so many of them. So you could have a lot of fun. If you have a little brother or sister or cousin or friend that is 10 years or younger, the ones that have this little green junior tag right here, these are more for the younger ones. So you can still see those too. Those are still fun too. But if you wanted to share and do one with someone else, you could certainly do that right here. So if you have a sibling you'd want to share that with, you can do that as well. Okay. So today we are going to talk about two money topics. One of them is called budgeting basics and the other one is comparing cards. And I'm going to go just click on budgeting basics real quick. And it's going to open up the budgeting basics page. And we're going to start off with a video. So I'm going to make sure that my sound is, I already clicked the button. So sound should come on when I hit play, but you guys just give me a head shake or a nod if you can hear it once we get going. It's just 3 short minutes and then we'll get to talking. Okay, here we go.
Fortune teller. Ah, sweet. I can't pass up a good deal.
Come in, come in. Cross my palm with silver to unlock the secrets of eternal prosperity. It's $20, kid.
What? I mean, of course, I thought this was supposed to be a cheaper place.
I sense your name is
Jen?
Jen.
Wow.
And you appear to be a plumber.
Nope.
But there is more than meets the eye. For you have some sort of part-time job?
Yes.
Great. So you have a regular paycheck coming in. Draw a card, Jen. Choose wisely.
Oh no. What does it mean?
Oh, that's just car insurance. That's usually an annual one. So that goes over here. Draw another. Oh, my. With that card, I sense a powerful energy here.
The utilities card? Wait a second. Utilities, income, expenses. Are you budgeting me?
Well, yeah.
I thought you read fortunes.
You won't have any fortune left for me to read unless you know how much you spend versus how much you earn. Your income is actually less than your paycheck or salary. When planning a budget, you must factor in taxes and deductions. Otherwise, you will be budgeting money you don't even have.
But budgeting is mostly for saving up for big stuff, right? I pay my rent and internet, and I still have money left over, so I'm good.
How do you know what you can and can't afford?
Well, I look at my account balance, and if there's money there, I know I can spend it.
Your palm! Show me your palm!
Palm reading. Now we're talking. Ow!
No more spending until you give every dollar a job. Part of that account balance that you're freely spending on fun stuff should actually be going to savings and one-time payments. Budgeting doesn't mean feeling guilty for fun purchases. It means feeling confident about them.
Like being in control of your own destiny.
Sure. Look, my crystal ball.
What do you see?
It's a warning. An unforeseen circumstance, an emergency of some sort.
Oh no.
It is unavoidable, Jen. If you do not prepare yourself, it will cost you dearly.
That sounds horrible. What is it? An accident?
It could be, or just like your car doesn't start one morning, or there's a loss of income in your household, or something like that.
Oh, this is a budgeting thing again.
An emergency fund is an important part of your budget.
It's cool. I get it.
Are you sure? Because I predict many more sessions for you with the budget fortune teller at a very reasonable rate.
No, I think I got it. Budgeting is about control. I need to be real about my income and watch out for sneaky expenses. And savings and emergency funds are important. Great.
But the crystal ball told me I foresee at least 7 to 8 more sessions. Luna has bills to pay too. Hey!
This is so pretty.
Why, thank you. I've had it for years. It's... Oops.
I bet you didn't foresee that emergency expense. Huh?
Jen. Always having to be funny. Okay, so let's talk about budgeting basics. Okay. So how many of you guys know what a New Year's resolution is? If you know what a New Year's resolution is, go ahead and use the hand raising or chat. You can do something in the chat that let me know what a New Year's resolution is. Take a second to go to chat and say, try to just tell us what you think a New Year resolution is. Some of you guys can think about what they might be. Anybody want to share?
Do we unmute and say it or what?
Yep, you can talk too if you're courageous enough to unmute. Go ahead.
All right, like a New Year's resolution. A New Year's resolution is something that like you try to plan for the next year and get like ready. It's like something you have to wait on or just something different that you're going to do the next year.
Absolutely. It's something that you plan to do in the new year. So a lot of people, a New Year's resolution may be, I'm going to pull up my grades and get better grades next year, or I'm going to save up money to buy something for someone or for myself. For some of us older women, sometimes it has to do with health. We're going to get healthier, right? We're going to lose weight, or we're going to drink more water, right? So, and I love it. Joshua says it great. He says, a promise that you make to yourself. Woo! That makes it real. It is. It's a promise. It's a commitment, right? So when we talk about a budget, about budgeting money, a budget is something, it's kind of like a New Year's resolution. It's designed to help us set a plan for what we're going to be doing, right? And to stick with it. So something we're kind of promising ourselves that we're going to make happen. Exactly. So let's talk about common budgeting misconceptions. Misconception is a big word. I just want to make sure everyone kind of knows what it means, but a misconception is basically a misunderstanding about something. So it's kind of like you think that it's one thing, but it's really another thing. Okay, so that's what a misconception is. So let's talk about some of the misconceptions in the money world, in the budget world. Okay, so one of them is having a budget means feeling guilty about spending your money on fun stuff. Some of you guys feel that way whenever you have money, right? Or when you are budgeting for something with your money. But that's a misconception. Having a budget doesn't mean you have to feel guilty. It just means that you feel a little more confident about your money, right? So you kind of have a plan for your money. Here's another one. In order for a budget to be successful, you need to switch to a super frugal lifestyle. Frugal means kind of like saving, like you want to save as much as possible. So you may deprive yourself of things you enjoy in order to save, right? So one misconception is that in order for a budget to be successful, you need to switch to a super frugal lifestyle. But that's a misconception. In reality, you need to just understand where your money is going. So me and Miss Kelly, the other Miss Kelly, we teach webinars and we teach these financial classes to people of all ages all the time. And Kelly, wouldn't you agree that this is a very big misunderstanding or misconception about money, even with grown-ups, like as adults.
With everybody, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think, and I hope that one of the things that you guys will learn is that it's okay to spend money. We just want you to learn to be purposeful with it and have a plan with it so that you don't find yourself making a decision about money that then you later regret and wish you hadn't. So it's okay to spend money, and it's okay to save to spend money. So a lot of people go, well, let me just stop you guys real quick and just ask you a question. This is one I like to bring up a lot, and parents like when I bring it up too. So if you're a parent, this one's for you, if you're listening. How many times have you guys gone to the grocery store, right, or the supermarket with your parents, and y'all are going for groceries, and you find yourselves in the checkout line, and you're asking your mama or your daddy or your auntie or your grandparent, whoever you're with, can I have that thing? Can I have that candy? Can I have that toy? Right? What is the answer usually? It's usually, no, you can't have that, right? Why do you think the answer is usually no? And I love some of you guys are chatting, so y'all go ahead. It's right. Everyone's
Because
like,
it's not a part of mom's budget.
that's right, because mom
Yes.
didn't budget for it. So you guys are putting her in a tough spot to break her promise to herself to stay on budget so that she can provide other things for your family, right? Or so that dad can provide other things for the family, okay? So I just wanted to park there for just a little bit and talk to you guys about it. Maybe next time you go with them to the store, you'll remember this. Don't bug them about stuff. Earn money on your own. Save it up for yourself. Budget to spend it for the next time you go with her. Man, she would be so impressed. I know I sure would if my son did that. Here's another misconception. Budgets keep you stressed out. How many of you guys, when you think about having a plan for every penny that you own, how many of you guys get stressed out by that? Some people do. Some people get really stressed out by it. I get stressed out by it because I feel like that means that I don't get to change it. And what if I fail? I don't want to fail at it. I want to be good at it, right? So a lot of people don't do budgets at all because it makes them stressed out. Okay, but that's another misconception. Budgets can help you stay safe. And when we say safe, we mean, again, try to protect you from making a decision that could eventually be a poor financial decision that might put you in a worse scenario. Okay. All right. So let's talk about best practices for every budget. Okay. So no matter how much money you have, if you notice when Kelly and all of us were starting at the beginning, you don't have to be a rich person and have a lot of money to have a budget. Believe it or not, the people that Kelly and I and our other coworker Herschel, the people that we work with the most that have money issues are actually people who have more money because they think, oh, because I have a lot of money, I don't need to budget it. But
Yes.
we even have people who don't make a lot of money that can succeed and have so many more financial choices and options than people who have a lot more money than them. And it's just because they're being purposeful with their budget, and they're being honest with themselves about how much money they make and what their lifestyle should look like, right? To fit that income. So finding a way to budget that works for you is really important. Some people really like apps. So we have a really cool banking app on our cell phones, right? Where we can just plug in to our accounts online, right on our phone, and see how much money we have. And we can even budget through apps. So some people like that, but some people like good old fashioned pen and paper, right? Kelly, the other Kelly, really likes the pen and paper. Okay, I am kind of a hybrid of both. I don't necessarily, I use a spreadsheet on my computer, but I still have an old-fashioned calendar that I write when a bill is due so that I make sure to go back and make sure that the right amount came out on the right day and all that good stuff. So what's important is that you do what works for you. I think one thing that a lot of us feel like we have to do, especially nowadays, is that we have to be like everybody else. And so one of the things that I really hope you guys will take away today is knowing that You're all very different. The way you think about money is different. Your backgrounds with money are different. The way your parents manage money is different, and other people in your family. The way your friends and your friends' parents do money is totally unique to you. It's okay. You just need to know what usually motivates you, okay? Base your budget income on your take-home pay. So as you get older, when you start earning a paycheck, you're gonna learn that there's something called before taxes and after taxes and all this kind of stuff. But when you're doing a budget, it's basically whatever the amount is on the check that you're gonna get from your boss or the company that you work for, right? And so there are other things that come out. And what I hope that you'll do is after tonight's lesson, you'll go back to the website that I showed you, which I'll remind you where that is. And you can click on a handout that explains to you what net and gross means on a paycheck. For those of you who might, excuse me, for those of you who may be older, you might be a little bit closer to earning an income than some of the other folks on the call. I'm not sure the age group here, but if you're 15, 16, 17, you guys are only a couple of years away from being a grown-up. That's scary, right? And so we want to make sure that you know what these things mean and understand what's coming out of your paycheck. I'm going to take a sip real quick, and I'm going to let Kelly talk about the next one, which is about savings.
So nobody likes to talk about savings because everybody wants to spend their money. But one of the most important things you can do, especially at your age, is to start saving now. So you kind of think of savings as just another bill that you have. Like if you have to pay your mom and dad for your phone or for your gaming subscription, think of it as just like that. Like that is one, just as top priority as your phone is to you. Make sure that you keep your savings as a top priority too, even if it's just a little bit, because a little bit adds up really quick.
Very good. Thank you so much. That's true. It really does add up quick. And then you want to check your budget, not your balance. So this is one thing even us grown-ups are really bad about, is that sometimes we just look at what that bottom line is on our app on our phone, and we go, oh, okay, well, excuse me. We may go, well, I have enough money to go to that thing, but we forgot that we wrote a check, right, to the kid down the street who mowed my grass last week, and he hasn't deposited his check yet. And so sometimes, you know what I mean, we don't do a really good job sometimes of actually seeing what we really have and what we can afford each month. And then we want to talk about emergency fund.
And so, Kelly, you want me to talk about this one?
Sure.
Okay. So emergency funds, when you think about an emergency, it can be different things to different people, but what we try and do, especially as grown-ups, is we try and reach to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved up and somewhere where we don't touch in case of emergency. Now, an emergency is not a trip. It's not the newest Xbox. It's none of those things. An emergency is really that. It's whether your car breaks down, or, you know, a couple of years ago we had the hurricane that came through and people had to find places to live and things like that. So that's what we think of as living expenses. So if you can start now, just think about how much you could save up by the time you're going off to college and just have it tucked away in case of emergency.
Yeah, and I think this one, I know for me personally, the hardest one for me when it comes to budgeting, because 3 to 6 months of expenses when you're older and you have a house that you pay rent or mortgage on, and you have a car that may or may not have a car payment, you got to pay for gas and insurance, all these things add up. And imagine if something were to happen, and that's why this is here, is in the event that something were to happen to you, let's say if you get sick and you can't work, or if you're married and sharing a household with someone, or living with a partner that is also sharing the expenses, what if they get hurt or if they get sick and they can't work, right? So it really affects your whole household. And so if you can aim for covering 3 to 6 months of expenses always in a savings account, you don't have to worry about how am I going to pay those bills, which also are going to trickle down to other social issues that you might have, like getting evicted because you couldn't make your rent payment, or have your house foreclosed on because you couldn't make your mortgage payment. You see what I'm saying? And so, or your electricity turned off because you couldn't pay your electricity bill. Like, these are all things that are, that we take for granted sometimes every day, because right now we all have the electricity and the power to be able to join this meeting, which is wonderful. But what if something were to happen and we wouldn't be able to do that? Like, life will really change. So aiming for 3 to 6 months, this is the hardest one for me. I know for my family that we're working on is getting those 3 to 6 months and then go do all the fun stuff. So that way, if something happens, we're covered.
Miss Kelly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to tell a story just about that, about saving money. So
Perfect. Go ahead.
Our students, we're a range of between 6th grade through 12th graders. So we have a range of middle school, high school. But my dad always says, you know, life always happens. And I remember one time we went to Disney for a whole entire week when I was in high school. Had a wonderful trip. We had a great time. When we came back, we opened the door and he walks in and the carpet is wet on the floor. And he's like, what is this? And the pipe had burst while we were gone. Because we weren't there, we didn't see it. So I don't know how much emergency money he had, but your point of you can't spend all your budget and like going on a fancy trip, which is fun, and leave nothing in your emergency fund, because that emergency happened right after the trip and we would have really been in a lot of trouble.
Amen. You are so right. You would have. And and for those of you guys who don't know, the average emergency is about $1,200 to $1,400 in one event. So one event, the average, so you take the national average. So there are some that are really big and there are some really small, but the average per household is about $1,200 per event. So to give you an idea for how easy it is or how hard it is for people to pay for those things, right now, only 3 out of 10 people have enough money in their account right now to cover an emergency that's that amount. Okay, many of you guys, like, you know, maybe there's something that's happened in your family that you have seen an emergency happen that has had a financial impact in your family, right? And your family had to sacrifice something in order to make, like, think of it, like, it could be a blown tire on the car. It could be a car accident. It could be someone got sick and there's a medical expense that has to be covered, right? Things change. Things change. The things that you buy at the grocery store change when those things happen. What you guys eat for dinner changes, right? If they say yes or no when you're in the line at the grocery store, you kind of know, like, all that stuff is impacted whenever there's an emergency. And so, and it's important that as you guys get older and you start thinking about living on your own, because I know a lot of you guys, all you want to do is be done with school, go to college, get your degree, which you are all going to do, by the way. You are all going to college and getting a degree, and I cannot wait to hear the kind of things that you guys go do and accomplish in the world. But y'all all want to grow up so fast and move out on your own, right? Don't live with mom and dad anymore. But then you get there and you're like, oh my goodness, like, I got to pay for this and I got to pay for that and I got to pay for this, because mommy and daddy ain't gonna pay for everything for you all the time. And grandma loves you, but I don't know that she loves you that much to float you through college and get you in your first place on your own. So, and Kelly has grandkids. She's like, I don't know. I think I might do everything.
I might.
You can only do what you can do. So,
yeah.
So what we're hoping that you guys will do is really think about that. When I'm a grown up, how am I going to be making decisions? How am I going to be putting money away? Or am I going to budget? And like I said, it's okay to spend. We're not saying don't spend your money, because we want you to live a happy, full life. Just be smart about your choices and be honest with yourself. Me and Miss Kelly talk all the time about things that we want to do, right, in our family or going on a trip or whatever. And a lot of times, because we want to practice what we teach, we typically will find ourselves going, no, I didn't do it because I didn't think it was the wisest thing for us, right? So we know far too well. All right, we're going to jump over real quick to comparing cards. We're going to watch another quick video. We'll go through this one a little bit faster. It's a little bit of an easier topic because it's very high level, meaning we're not going to get caught up in the weeds and do too much detail. But I would love for you guys to get to know a little bit more of the different types of plastic cards that are out there. Because if you've ever been with someone who has paid for something with a plastic card, okay, well, that money didn't just come out of nowhere. It comes from somewhere, and it's, that little transaction is tied to that card some way, shape, or form. So I want you guys to hear a little bit more about plastic cards here, and then we'll wrap it up.
total comes to $22.38.
Okay.
And how will you be paying for that today?
Well, isn't it obvious? She can make her own decision.
Who said that?
Hello! I can handle this purchase. Easy peasy. That's what debit cards do. Do you remember how awesome my rewards program is, though? Swipe me. We got this. I think what these two meant to say is that you want to use me. Prepaid debit. I mean, look at my logo. Just like a credit card. Cool, right? Please, you're nothing like me. I'm the only one here who can help build credit. You have literally zero effect on a credit score. But I don't need a whole special approval process. I'm accessible. Anyone can own me. I'm pretty accessible too, and I tend to have less fees than you do, prepaid debit. Oh yeah? Name one. Activation fee. Sometimes. Transaction fees. Not always. Reload fees. Well, maintenance fees. I said one. At least I don't have to worry about crazy interest rates or overdraft fees. I do charge interest on balances, but that's the trade-off for a generous credit limit. You're limited to the amount loaded onto you, and you're limited to how much is in your checking account. Right. That's why people who hang out with you too much get into tons of debt. And every day it sounds like there's a headline about a new credit card data breach. Don't give me that attitude. Debit and I are protected by federal law to minimize liability caused by that kind of stuff. If you get lost or stolen, you're out of luck most of the time. You're just jealous because everyone thinks I'm cool and you can't handle it. How dare you challenge me, you good-for-nothing piece of plastic. Don't checking and savings accounts mean anything to
Guys.
anybody anymore?
Guys, let's be cool. Can you just try and say something nice about each other? Come on. I know you can do it.
Well, credit does have cool rewards. And if you're smart about it and don't carry a balance, she can be pretty great. And I guess prepaid debit can come in handy, like if you're traveling. You can use it in lots of different places. And if it gets lost or stolen, it can't be used to access your account. And debit, like, I totally admire your affordability. And you can be used to take out cash from ATMs all over the world. You kind of rock at managing money, I must say.
See, was that so difficult?
I guess not. But getting back to your purchase, how are you going to pay? Yeah, Jen. Who are you going to choose? Please, pick me. Who's it going to be? Pick me.
Oh, I'm just gonna pay with cash this time.
No! Really? No way. Are you kidding me?
Hey guys, what about me?
Who are you?
I'm an old gift card with 12 cents left on it. I'll show myself out.
Grown-ups laugh at that one all the time because you're like, oh my gosh, you're so... I've had that card in my wallet for 4 years. Why am I carrying it around? All right, so cards. This one was really fun. I like this one. I like how they kind of started fighting there with each other. I think it's super important that you guys understand the difference. So if you, first of all, making sure everyone's still awake and still here with me, go ahead and hop over to the chat if you would, and let me know which card was your favorite card. And you can say it was my favorite because it was purple. I don't care. But if you had a card that was your favorite, we had debit, credit, and prepaid were the big three. Y'all let me know which one you liked in the chat. Oh, okay. Got a good mix there. Nobody likes poor prepaid. Prepaids get no votes.
No love.
Very, very good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about these cards. So as you saw, every card has some good things about it and bad things about it, right? So it's important to understand how to use them. And when you know that and you kind of know how each type works, it can make a huge impact on your personal finances, especially when we're talking about credit cards, right? So let's talk about them again. So debit, credit, and prepaid debit. These are the different main ones. We'll spend more time probably talking about debit and credit cards. All right, so debit card is a card that's linked to the funds in your checking account. If you have a checking account and you are of a certain age, and you check with your financial institution, if you already bank somewhere that you already have an account, you'll likely get a debit card when you get old enough. Some of you guys already have one. Some of you high schoolers probably already have a debit card. that's linked to a checking account with your name on it, which is super cool. So the debit card is tied to funds in your checking account, meaning you already have the money has been deposited into that account. So there's some sort of deposit going in so that you can withdraw money through the use of the debit card, okay, through the plastic. The debit card is typically the one that has a PIN number assigned to it. But what confuses people is that a debit card can also be run as credit. And so people think that if I'm running the card as credit, that I am using credit. That is not true. That is a misconception about cards. Even it's the only difference between the way a debit card itself, the transaction is completed is through the merchant. So let's say, for example, I'm at Walmart, and if I'm buying something at Walmart and I slide my card and it recognizes that it's a debit card, it will ask me for my 4-digit PIN. But I can also bypass the 4-digit PIN and just say sign for my purchases, which runs it as credit, but it still comes out of my debit card account because it's tied to my checking account. Got it? So moving along to credit cards, it might help you understand a little bit more. Credit cards is when you're spending money up front that you haven't yet earned or paid back. So you're borrowing from the credit card company or the bank or the credit union, right? That's allowing you the credit. And then later when you get your bill, you pay it back after you get your bill, which is usually about 30 days, 30 to 45 days. We'll talk a little bit more about credit cards here in just a second. And then there's the prepaid card. The prepaid debit card it doesn't give you access to credit, so it's not like the second card, and it's not linked to your checking account either. It's totally separate, where you can access money that's loaded onto the card. So it's not tied to either of those other two options. All right,
Kelly,
so
you had a question.
I
In
have
the
a
chat,
question?
yeah, in the chat it says,
Thank you.
how old do you have to be to get each type of card?
Great. That is a great question. It really depends on the financial institution. Debit cards, at least with Envision, you can be as young as 14 to have a debit card on your debit account. You have to be 18 to have a credit card. Okay. And then prepaid debit cards can go to anyone because they're not necessarily tied. They're not tied to an account, but I can tell you that most prepaid debit cards, you have to be 18 years old or older to purchase them. And that's just for protection rights of minors. So good question. Really good question. Thank you, Sabrina. I didn't have my chat window open, so I didn't see that. So in order to get a personal checking account, you have to meet the requirements by your financial institution. Every financial institution is different. So whether you go to a bank or a credit union, just ask. And usually you can find out right on their website how old you have to be and what you would need to be approved. With Envision, our debit card is free when you get a checking account. So it doesn't cost you anything, and we actually can access them, give them to you and create them right in our financial institutions when your checking account is open. So you're welcome to stop by or have your parents check out and find out more information. But if your family banks somewhere else, then you probably want to go to them and just ask them, what are your minimum requirements, and get started with a checking account as soon as possible so you can start practicing using a debit card and balancing an account and balancing a budget like we talked about in the first session. Okay, and then so credit is a little bit tricky because with credit, your approval process, like if you can have credit or not, is dependent upon many things. When you're 18 years old, typically people who get a credit card when they're 18, it's because they are just starting out. And think of a credit card, like your credit, think of a credit report, kind of like your report card at school. It shows your track record of how well you've done at paying other people back. So if you've never borrowed money before from a financial institution and you're 18 years old and you're asking for a credit card, it's going to be very risky for that institution to give you a credit card. And if they do say yes, it's probably going to be what we call a high interest rate. And an interest rate means, okay, so I spent $50 at Walmart for my $50 thing using my gift card, right? My purchase for $50. But not only do I have to pay $50 back, I I have to pay interest on that $50 that I borrowed, because that's what the financial institution earns off of me for allowing me to borrow the money before I actually paid them. Okay, so there's a whole nother section in here on credit. There's another, not in this workshop, but if you go back to the It's a Money Thing page, you can understand credit and how credit scores are calculated. And if you can hang with the topic, I really encourage you guys to go do it and learn about it. The credit squirrel is the character in It's a Money Thing that teaches you about credit, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. And if we do another session in the future, maybe that's something we can do. There's another question in the chat here that says, can you use a debit card online? Absolutely. You can use a debit card online. You want to be careful though. Your debit card is tied to your checking account, which is usually where most of your other bills that you pay come from. So you want to be really careful using your debit card online, because if your debit card number gets compromised and stolen by someone who's bad and they're a fraud, a fraudster, and they use that card somewhere else, they could drain your checking account pretty quickly if you are not monitoring your account carefully. Another one is, what is the highest interest rate can go? Great question, D'Anthony. That's a wonderful question. There are state laws that say how high rates can go in different states. In Florida, it's 18%. Some states might be higher, and there are other types of loans that can go higher than, or credit cards even, that can go higher than 18 because maybe they've found a loophole in the system. It could be 22 or 23, but 18 is the highest for Florida in credit cards. Wonderful, wonderful questions. And then prepaid debit's pretty easy. It doesn't usually require an approval process because it's kind of like a gift card. Does that make sense? So prepaid debit is kind of like a gift card, but the cool thing about prepaid debit is that it's still linked to an online portal that allows you or your parent or someone to still go online and load more money onto the card. So you wouldn't have to get a new card every single time you want to put money on it. Usually though, they have fees, so you might want to avoid fees because there are reloading fees, which I think talk about right here. Yeah, so talking about that right here. Excuse me. The debit card, some basic fees. Most credit unions are not going to have fees on their checking accounts. Kelly, can you pick up the basic fees section here for us and let them know if there are any other fees that are charged?
Sure, you got me just in time.
Oh, did you go away?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, cool.
Literally, you just got me. So you were asking about the fees on the prepaid debit?
No, if you could just explain what fees are associated with the 3 different types right here on the screen.
Okay, so debit cards, where you're not going to have, with most places, you're not going to have an annual fee or anything like that. You're going to have fees if you use your card at some place other than an institution that carries the same logo that yours does. So on the back of your debit card, there's a logo, and if you go to your credit union or bank and use your card there, you're not going to have a fee. But if you go somewhere else, you could possibly have a fee. There's also fees. Again, this account is linked. Your debit card is linked to your account. So if you accidentally forget to budget and manage what you have in your account, you may get an overdraft fee for going over the amount that you had in your account.
Right.
Credit cards have annual fees. They also have over the limit fees. If you don't pay your card on time, you're going to have late fees. And the amounts vary, so I don't want to give you a dollar amount, but and then prepaid debit, although you've got that money is money that's put on the card when you purchase it, there could be activation fees. There can be per use fees. So every time you swipe the card, you can get charged a fee. And if you don't use the card over a certain amount of time, you can get charged a fee for not using it. So there's all kinds of fees, and you just have to really balance out what you're going to be able to use. Somebody chatted which card is best. There's not a best. You just have to make informed decisions about it. You have to find the one that works best for you.
That's right. I mean, we are always going to be advocates of you having, being able to spend your money from your checking account before you borrow it. But there is also there are benefits to using a credit card, but if you're just going to buy a basic item, if it's a matter of need, we hope that you would be able to pay for it from your debit account because that's money you already have on hand, because you don't know if you're going to be able to pay that credit card bill back in 45 days. So unless you're budgeting for it. So again, it's okay to use the credit card, because I have a credit card that I use for certain things, but I don't use it for everything. But I use it for certain things, but I also know that I have to budget to pay it back, because I never want to just pay the minimum, because it's going to take me forever, and the interest rate's going to be, or the interest rate accrual is going to cost a lot more over time. And then these may be some additional fees, which Kelly has already covered for you guys pretty well. Okay, credit score. This is again where I really want you guys to go back and read the credit score one, or do the credit discussion, and learn a little bit more about how credit influences the approval process, and then how using credit cards affects your report card, right? Your credit score report card, in regards to borrowing money in the future and building credit, so that you can start borrowing for more things as you get older. Because listen, if you have poor credit, or if you use that card poorly, start you with a lower credit score, it's going to be hard for you to get approval for other things that you need, like your first car loan, right? Or a mortgage. So you want to be really careful that you're using the credit in a smart way. It's good credit, and that you're not damaging your credit score, that you're building your credit score up. Because I promise you, the higher your credit score and the more your savings, right, or good spending without those fees, that shows your credit worthiness, and it gives you more options in life. We want you to be empowered to have options, to have choices. If you make bad choices in using your credit and debit accounts, and you have things that ding on you and kind of have a negative record, it's going to follow you into adulthood, right? And as you grow and as you experience more choices in life. So we want you to be able to have more choices. So make good decisions when you're using those things.
Kelly, can I just say too, when it talks about credit and debit cards and just how to use them, you want to as you get practice, then you will be ready for other things. But what I mean by that is, no one would say to a baby to go drive a motorcycle, right? Because the baby can't even walk yet. But if you start with a debit card per se, and you show somebody you're responsible with the money that's in there, or even a prepaid debit, and you're not getting late fees all the time, then yeah, maybe when you're 19, 20, you go ahead and you get a credit card and you use it wisely. But if you've never had a debit card or any kind of card at all, and then you just jump to a credit card, they are very powerful. But you can also get into a credit card accident sometimes. You want to be careful.
Listen, we just recorded one of our podcast episodes where we talk about this, and it's one of my worst, like one of the things I remember from my past. Signed up for a credit card, guys, because they had a really cool beach towel promotion that went with it. It was the dumbest decision I ever made in my life, and that's when rates were like 25%, right, on the credit card, and it was just bad. It was just bad. There are rewards. We won't get into rewards, but know that there are rewards that a financial institution may offer you for using their debit card, for using their credit card. There may be some prepaid debit cards, but there aren't, or prepaid debit rewards, but there typically aren't very many rewards with prepaid debit. You're going to find the most rewards for debit and credit cards, which I enjoy my rewards. I love using them. And then there's protection. Can you be held liable for unauthorized transactions if your card is stolen, right? Or if it's lost and somebody uses it, which again is still stolen. It's fraudulent transactions, right? And with debit and credit, you're protected. With some prepaid, you may not be protected, but some of them may offer protection, and sometimes that protection comes at a higher fee. So it's kind of like insurance. So you want to make sure you check with your financial institution that card comes from, to see what the actual liability limits may be on those cards. So in a nutshell, because we're running out of time here, I want to make sure that we stay focused on some key points here with our card discussion, the plastic discussion. One, stay organized so that you can avoid racking up late fees or missing any late payments. Make sure you stay on top of your balances, track your balances to avoid overspending. So you find yourself, not spending on things that you don't necessarily need, right? And then take advantage of using tools that might come through your financial institution or the company that the card comes through. They may have some online tools that can help you stay on track and stay balanced. And then understand and know what fees are associated. Ask those questions. Read the fine print and ask. If you don't understand what you're reading, say, I'm sorry. I know you do this a billion times a day, but this is the first time I've ever done this, and I would really like to understand what I'm signing up for. Can you explain what this means to me? Do not be afraid to do that. Sometimes people in the business world can forget how important those discussions really are, especially with young people. And then understand the features that your specific cards have. There could be some benefits that maybe you don't know about that you could take advantage of. Okay, so let's open it up for questions really quickly. I see some chat things coming on in here. I see some chat discussions. If you have any questions, go ahead and you can unmute yourself. You can do the hand raise feature. That's fine too, so that we can kind of see you, or you can unmute and speak up.
There was one about how to build good credit. That was
okay. So great question. We won't have time to cover that today. Let me show you where you can find it though. So let me hop back over here. So if you go back to our website, I'm reminding you guys where to go. envisioncu.com, hover over resources, go over here to It's a Money Thing for Kids. And if you want to know how to build credit, there's two of them that I love the most. One of them, it's credit scores, and the other one is boosting your score. These are awesome. You'll love them. They come just like the ones we just watched that has a quick video, and then it has some other resources like a handout and things like that. But these two right here, we could spend an entire hour talking to you guys about how credit influences your score, but you'll love the way Jen and the way the credit squirrel kind of explains to her how credit scores are calculated and the breakdown of credit scores. But in a nutshell, I can tell you the two highest things real quick that influence the score the most, and that's paying on time and never borrowing more than 30% of what's available to you. We call that capacity or usage. Those two alone right there make up 65% of your credit score. And then there's three others. So I encourage you guys to hop on over here to explain what things are. Great question. What other questions do you guys have for me?
This one is from Aaron, and it says, what happens to your card if you buy a house or a car? Talking about like maybe big purchases on credit.
Well, most people, I'm assuming here that you mean, would you use your card to buy a house or a car? I don't know if that's what you're getting at here. Normally, you would not use your credit card or even a debit card to make a, yeah, okay, thanks for clarifying that, Erin. No, you would never, a car and a home are the two biggest purchases you will likely ever make, most people. I mean, there's a boat in there or something like that, but most people, it's house and car, right? So you're typically gonna get a loan for those things because loans can be protected with your car or your house. We call that collateral. And so it won't affect your card. However, if you have a mortgage for a house or even you're paying a rent, right? And also you have a credit card, how you manage both of those together at the same time influences your score because you want to make sure that you're not over borrowing on credit. It makes you look really risky when you have a credit card that's maxed out that you can't borrow from anymore and half of your income's going to your mortgage payment. We call that debt to income ratio. It means you have more bills. The total of your bills is more than the total of what you have left over after you pay those things. And so you're considered a risky person, a risky borrower. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, we got people talking about owning their own business. I love it. Jacay,
Yes.
future entrepreneur there. Love it. There's a cool money thing topic. I'm going to hop over here and show you that you might like, Jacayla. It is, let's see. Let me close some of my windows here so I can see. Let me see if I can find it.
While you're looking, Kelly, real quick, Aaron asked about what you were talking about, if that would be similar to bankruptcy. So y'all are asking like amazing questions, all these questions. So Aaron, bankruptcy, that's another topic, but that would be you have borrowed and you have not paid, and not just like 1 month. It's been a while. And so now the government, the man, your bank is coming to get that money from you one way or another. Bankruptcy, if you can help it, try to stay out of it. But you hear it in the news, even big companies sometimes file bankruptcy. It's complicated.
Bankruptcy in a nutshell means that you have so many financial responsibilities, and your income situation has changed so much that there is no end in sight. You would never be able to pay it off, and so it's considered what's called a write-off. That's not the same thing as what we were talking about with debt to income ratio. But people who have high debt to income ratios, who over credit, oftentimes find themselves in bankruptcy situations. They didn't follow a budget very well. A lot of people, especially young people, they get their first job and they're like, ooh, I'm rolling in the dough now, right? I got all this money. And so they start getting loans and they're building their credit, but then they bite off a whole lot more than they could do. Maybe they get married and they have a 2-income household, but then maybe one of them like loses their job, or maybe maybe they split up, they're not together anymore. So now one person is floating the bills, right? That 2 people got together, and there's not 2 people paying for those things anymore. So there's a lot of stuff there. Let me go back to Jacayla's question really quick on the your business. There are a couple of little money thing topics that you might like. One is writing a business plan. One is making money even though it's junior, you might like it. Definitely building a budget, but then growing your money locally. This talks about like the local aspect of where to put your money into. And then paying yourself first is a good one as well that you might like. So those might be some good business ones that you guys might like to look at. Man, y'all are asking incredible questions.
They are. And Kelly, I was looking at the time. I was like, oh, the time. So can we do 2 things, as we have to kind of start to wrap it up and finish these questions. Okay, so first of all, I give y'all a super round of applause, and let's applaud Ms. Kelly for great information. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Kellys.
Thank you.
And so we appreciate everyone who's been a part of this. You all have learned a lot. If you take even one thing you learned today and use it in your future, you will be more money smart than I was when I was in middle school and high school. So that's a great thing. So we are going to, Ms. Kelly and I, we're sending a message that we had so many people come, and I made a mistake in the remind about the pre-registering. So we are going to do a $25 Visa gift card.
Let's do it.
Because we had so many people attend, and it was amazing. So what I did is, while everyone was getting on, I was listening, but I actually I had strips of paper and I wrote everybody.
Oh, you did it old school.
I did old school. And I wrote everybody on a piece of paper. So I already pulled it because I saw the time was rolling up. So the winner of the Visa gift card,
Drum roll,
please. It is.
Way to do it.
Willie Brown.
Yay! Congratulations, Willie. So Willie, I am going to get your gift card over to Miss Sabrina, and she will get it to you. Okay. So congratulations, Willie.
Also, from us at Talent Search, because you all were a part of this evening, we will be giving $10 gift cards to a restaurant for you all, because if we were in person, we would be buying you dinner, but we can't. So we're going to give you gift cards. Here's what I need. the Gadsden County Public School the GCPS kids email addresses, they don't like when I try to send emails to them because of the firewalls. So I need you all, if you don't mind, to send in the chat your email address, like if you have a Gmail or a Yahoo or anything, that we could use to get you all your gift cards. Miss Yama, I got everyone who's been in here. We just need your email accounts, please. Your email addresses, you can send it to me privately or to the group, it doesn't matter. We're all honest, good people in this group.
Miss Sabrina, do you mind? Let's do 2 drawings for $10 gift cards as well from us for the lunch on us. Can you just draw 2 more names for me real quick?
I sure can. Okay, so hold on. So Willie was a 25. Okay, let me raffle around in here. Hold on. Okay, Riley Ward. If there's a Riley Ward, you're a $10 winner, an extra $10 winner.
Yay!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And hold
Is
on.
Rowley, I'm sorry, is Rowley getting $10?
Yes, she
A
gets
$10
$10
gift
from
Card
Envision.
from us and then, yep, perfect.
And us. Okay.
Yep.
So everybody's getting 10 from us, but Willie's
We're gonna
getting
do
25, Riley's getting an extra 10, and one more.
Who's feeling lucky?
Deshauna McMillan.
Yay,
Desh-
Deshauna.
Yay.
Deshauna McMillan.
Excellent.
But while we're still on here, here's a few things. Your parents have a chance next week. This session was for students. Both Miss Kelly's will be back next week on Tuesday for a parent session. And the course will be different because it's for parents. And so for that one, there will also be an opportunity for parents. They do need to pre-register though, so I'm going to make sure I put that on my flyer. But I believe that gift card is for $50.
Yeah, this one's going to be bigger. We are going to do, let me make sure.
Okay.
Let me make sure what I promised you. I want to pull it up. Yep, we're doing a $50 Visa gift card drawing for parents. So
Yay.
get your parents to register and to show up, and they'll get an additional entry. If they pre-register ahead of time, they're entered once, and then when they show up, they're entered twice or entered again. So they can have a double entry for registering early and then for showing up. So we'll have a big $50 winner, and whoever wins maybe can take the whole family out to dinner.
Perfect. And I appreciate everyone. Like I said, make sure if you haven't, send me your email address so we can get the gift card out to you. Then the Envision card, that will come in the mail. We'll mail that to those winners.
Do I need to send my email again, Miss Sabrina?
Did you send it?
Last
Yeah.
time I sent you.
Yeah, Riley, send it to me again because I just print out the chat every time, if you don't mind.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, they have a question in the chat. How will they sign up? Will you all put a link inside the chat?
Yes, let me go right now and I can put, I can put the link for the parent one. Give me 1 second.
Okay. No, for the sign up. For Envision.
For the pre-registration?
Yes.
Oh, well, Sabrina is the one who's doing the Zoom link for that. So Sabrina will send that out.
Okay.
Once, she's got the Zoom link set up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so just tell so somebody said their parent doesn't have an email. I have this chat, so I will figure out something by phone for that grandma. If grandma doesn't have an email, so we can work it out with them.
Okay, perfect. And for those of you who would like to know where to go, I put the web address for our money thing landing page, which is what we taught from today. If you guys would like to explore more money topics from It's a Money Thing.
And Miss Kelly, there was one last question that was on there before we got the emails, and it just said, I think it was on the lines of, so if you owe money to a bank, what happens if you just don't pay it? You know, if you,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
so
happens?
Yeah, it depends. If it's money that you owe from a checking account, maybe going negative or overdrafting, you get what's called a check systems record. And so if you were to go to try to get a checking account at another financial institution, we all share a system that we can log into that shows us how well people have maintained other accounts. So if you've gone negative or have kind of a poor history with a previous financial institution, it's going to show up on that report when you go to open your account. Same with credit. If you go to apply, and it's all tied to your social security number. So if you go to apply for credit for a loan that you've defaulted, and you've defaulted on a loan before, like you didn't pay it, and you lost whatever it was that you got the loan for, then that stays on your credit report, and it really hurts you from being able to borrow money again from another lender. So that's what happens. It dings you, but it stays with you. I hate to bring it up, but it's kind of like, how it's kind of like a criminal record. It just stays with you. So that's why everybody's saying, make good choices, right? Do good things, like that kind of stuff, because it's going to follow you. So same thing with money, like make good choices, try not to make bad choices when it comes to money. Because if you do, and you default on those things, you're going to have a record with the financial institution, and it's going to stick with you. And you don't really want that. Especially because you guys, as you make good choices, time heals all wounds, but stuff stays on your credit report for 7 years. You might be a whole different person in 7 years. Like you might be really, you may have made a bad mistake a couple of years ago and you don't do that anymore, but it's still going to affect you, right? Because it's still within 7 years on your credit report. So you'll find out more about that stuff as you go explore It's a Money Thing.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate y'all joining us this evening. Have a wonderful night.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Kelly, thank you very much.
You're so welcome. I'll look forward to connecting with you for the parents. Oh, and I'll send you an email. I'll just confirm your address that I can send, or maybe I'll just stop by and drop off those. I'll coordinate with you on getting you those gift cards.
Perfect. Yeah, I was really, it's like Russian roulette every time we have something. You never know.
You never know. It's okay. You never know. We're flexible too. It's great. When they're asking questions, I love it. Yeah, and
so, but this makes me happy that we'll do a second session in the spring. We'll do it again in the spring.
Wonderful.
Other topics.
Yeah. Wonderful kids. Good kids. You're welcome. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Okay, bye. Good night.